It started with a sound I'll never forget, a heavy metallic slam that shut the world out. The steel shutters of the post office dropped like a guillotine, locking a dozen of us inside with Karen Holbrook, our HOA president, and 3 bins of stolen mail. She stood there in her lavender suit, hands on her hips like she owned the place, screaming that all community mail had to go through her first. 10 minutes later, she'd be in handcuffs, and a man's life would hang by a thread because of her madness. But to really understand how we got there, I need to rewind a bit. I'm Hank Foster. I sell high-grade security hardware, locks, safes, gates, anything that keeps chaos out. My wife, Jenna, she's an EMT, calmest person I know. We moved to Birchwood Landing 2 years ago. Thought it was paradise, clean lawns, quiet streets, good neighbors. Then Karen got elected HOA president. At first, it was little things. Stickers on doors saying non-compliant paint color, threatening letters about garden gnomes. She'd stand at meetings with her chin high and say, "We have to maintain standards." You'd think she ran the Pentagon, not a cul-de-sac. But then the mail started going missing. Packages arrived half-opened. Neighbors got fines for unauthorized exterior decor, because someone, guess who, was reading our mail and catching wind of what we ordered. I didn't believe it until I found a notice taped to my front door. Violation, unsightly parcel delivery. It had been left on a day I wasn't even home. She knew what I'd ordered before I did. Jenna tried to laugh it off. "Maybe she's just nosy," she said. But when an elderly neighbor's social security check disappeared for a week, I started keeping receipts. I'm the kind of guy who documents everything. Call logs, emails, timestamps. I like proof. And Karen, with her smug little clipboard, was about to give me all the proof I needed. One Friday afternoon, the post office called me. "You might want to come down here," said the postmaster. "A stone-faced guy named Henderson. Your HOA president's causing a situation." I drove over and walked straight into the middle of a federal crime scene in slow motion. Karen was behind the counter with a dolly full of gray postal bins. She was yelling about chain of custody and community oversight. Henderson, bless his soul, looked ready to retire on the spot. "Ma'am," he said, calm as stone, "you are interfering with the delivery of U.S. mail. That's a federal offense." Karen scoffed. "I am the authority here. I need to verify this mail before it's distributed." I could feel Jenna tense beside me. She'd started recording on her phone. Steady hands. Red light glowing. Henderson's hand hovered near the button that dropped the security shutter. Then Karen tried to wheel the bins toward the door. Henderson hit the button. Clang. Shutters down. We were sealed in. Everyone froze. You could hear the hum of the fluorescent lights and Karen's rapid breathing. She didn't look like a leader anymore. She looked cornered. A wild animal in heels. And then she said something that made my blood boil. "This mail belongs to Birchwood Landing. As president, I'm authorized to handle it." That's when Mrs. Gale, a quiet woman from down the street, spoke up. Her voice shook. "My husband's insulin was supposed to arrive today. It's in a small white cooler. Did you see it?" Karen waved her off. "If it mattered that much, you should have planned better." Jenna stepped forward, voice calm but sharp. "That's medical medication. Karen, where is it?" Karen rolled her eyes. "Everything's being sorted appropriately." I swear the room got colder. That white cooler wasn't just a package. It was someone's life. And Karen was treating it like a missing Amazon box. Henderson called the postal inspectors right then, his voice low but steady. "Yes, she's still here, refusing to release the mail." Karen kicked the dolly, making the bins rattle. "I am a pillar of this community," she shouted. "You'll regret this." I almost laughed. Trying to intimidate a federal employee in a federal building? That's like threatening a tornado. Then I saw it. The white styrofoam cooler, tucked between catalogs and envelopes. Red letters. "Medical supplies. Keep refrigerated." I pointed. "That's it." Mrs. Gale gasped, tears in her eyes. Jenna moved to grab it, but Karen stepped in front like she was guarding a treasure chest. "This is evidence," she barked. "Mail mismanagement." I said nothing. I just walked up, crossed my arms, and stared. Sometimes silence speaks louder than shouting. Karen glared at me, then at the crowd, realizing everyone was against her. And yet she still doubled down. She shoved the dolly forward, hard. It slammed into a young postal clerk, knocked him right into the wall of mailboxes. Metal rang out. People screamed. That was it, assaulting a federal worker. Henderson's eyes turned steel. "Step back, ma'am." But Karen wasn't done. She lunged for another bin, trying to grab the outgoing mail. "It's HOA property," she shrieked. Envelopes spilled across the floor. Bills, letters, birthday cards, all mixed in with her chaos. And then, faintly at first, we heard it, sirens, getting closer. When the inspectors walked in, navy jackets, yellow letters that said U.S. Postal Inspection Service. The entire room fell silent. Henderson pointed straight at Karen. "That's her." One of the inspectors, a tall man named Davies, didn't even raise his voice. "Ma'am, hands behind your back." Karen froze. Mouth open, but no words coming out. Davies repeated, calm as a metronome. "You are under arrest for mail interference and assault on a federal employee." The click of the cuffs echoed off the walls. She looked at me then, like she was asking for help. I didn't move. Some things you have to face alone. Now, here's where most people think the story ends, but for us, it was just the beginning. Because when the inspectors searched her dolly, they found something worse, a forged mail hold authorization for our entire neighborhood, signed by a fake architectural review board, a board that didn't exist. The signature was hers. And the contact address? A P.O. box rented under the name Arthur Pennington. Only problem was, there was no Arthur Pennington in Birchwood Landing. The feds started pulling records, and what they uncovered made my stomach drop. That P.O. box was paid for by money orders traced back to a real estate developer named Mark Thorne, the same guy who'd been trying for years to buy the 15-acre greenbelt behind our homes, the one our HOA had refused to sell. That's when it hit me. Karen hadn't been guarding our community standards. She'd been selling us out, literally. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table staring at the folder of notes I'd been keeping. Dates, photos, letters, videos. For a second, I wondered if it was even worth it. "Jenna," I said quietly, "maybe we just let it go. She's in enough trouble already." Jenna looked up from her laptop, eyes sharp. "She forged federal documents, Hank. She put a man's life at risk. And you think she's done?" I exhaled, rubbed my temples. I was tired of fighting, tired of paperwork, tired of drama. But deep down, I knew Jenna was right. Karen's kind didn't stop when caught. They stopped when cornered. So I called Inspector Davies the next morning, told him about the months of harassment, the fake violation notices, everything. He asked me to come down to their field office. They'd already discovered that the fake board's payments were being funneled into a consulting company, Green Meadow Management. The owner, Mark Thorne. The consultant, Karen Holbrook. It was all there. Invoices for community design services worth tens of thousands. None of it real. And then we got lucky. A nervous old man named Arthur Wells, the HOA's secretary, cracked. He came to my house one evening, pale as a ghost, clutching a briefcase. "She made me keep 2 sets of books," he whispered. "One for the HOA and one for everything else." He opened the briefcase. Inside was a flash drive and a tiny recorder. "There's an audio file," he said. "A phone call. She wanted me to record it for legal protection. It's her and Thorne, discussing payments." When I played it, I felt my jaw clench. Thorne's voice was oily smooth. "200 grand after the vote passes." Karen's voice followed, smug and confident. "And you'll have the Greenbelt rezoned by then?" It was all there. The greed, the corruption, the arrogance. Jenna looked at me, eyes blazing. "We're not giving this to the feds yet. Not until the whole neighborhood hears it." So we planned. A week later, the annual HOA meeting was held in the community clubhouse, the very stage where Karen had built her little empire. She'd been released on bail, somehow still clinging to her title. She stood at the podium with her usual pastel smile, pretending nothing happened. "Tonight," she said, "we'll discuss a wonderful opportunity for development along the Birchwood Greenbelt." That was my cue. I stood up in the back. "Point of order, Madam President," I said. "Before we talk development, I think everyone deserves to hear this." She sneered. "This isn't on the agenda." "Neither was mail fraud," I said. Jenna plugged in her laptop. The projector flickered, and the room filled with the sound of Karen's own voice. The video started. The post office standoff. Her screaming. The moment she shoved the clerk. The cuffs snapping shut. Then, the audio call, crystal clear. 200 grand after the vote passes. You'll have the rezoning ready? Of course, Miss President. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The Martins, her loyal board members, stood frozen. Arthur sat in the corner, shaking but resolute. Karen turned pale, then red, then something in between. "This is slander," she shouted. "You have no right." Jenna cut the video. The silence afterward was heavier than any shouting could be. Then neighbors started speaking. "You lied to us. You stole our money. You tried to sell our land." Karen's mouth opened, but no words came. Security escorted her out as the crowd closed in. Not violent, just furious, betrayed. The empire she'd built on fear collapsed in 10 minutes flat. 2 months later, she stood before a federal judge, the same lavender suit, but now wrinkled and defeated. The judge's words still echo in my head. "You used your power not to protect your community, but to plunder it." She ordered Karen to repay every cent she stole, over $120,000, plus restitution to every household she'd tampered with. And the cherry on top, a restraining order. She was legally forbidden to come within 20 feet of any mailbox for 5 years. You can't write irony better than that. They say time heals, but I think exposure does too. The fear lifted from Birchwood Landing. People started talking again, laughing again. Even the mail felt different, cleaner somehow. A few weeks back, I stopped by the post office to mail a package. Through the glass door, I saw a woman in an orange vest sweeping the lobby floor. Lavender suit traded for county work clothes. She didn't look up. I didn't need her to. I walked out into the sunlight, letters in hand, breathing easy for the first time in months. Karen once thought she could control everything that passed through our mailboxes. Now she couldn't come within 20 feet of one. Funny how order always finds its way back, as long as someone's willing to stand up and document the truth. Lesson: when someone builds power on fear, all it takes is sunlight and a camera to burn it down.